The year 2020. I mean, for most of us, it was something else. But for one guy, it was the single greatest financial year of his life. We're talking about Elon Musk, of course. And the question is, how in the world did he add over $150 billion to his net worth in just 1 year? Let's get into it. Wow! Just look at that number, $150 billion. That's not his total net worth. That's just the amount it grew by in 2020. To put that into perspective for you, that's more than the entire economic output of a lot of countries. It's a number so big, it just doesn't feel real, you know?
So let's zoom in on just how massive this jump was. At the start of 2020, Elon was the 35th richest person in the world. Still incredibly wealthy, right? About $27 billion. But by the end of that same year, he had leapfrogged everyone to become number one, the wealthiest person on the planet, with a net worth pushing $190 billion. From 35th to 1st in 12 months. It's just wild. And this is where it gets really interesting, right? Because you're probably thinking, okay, what did he do? What massive new thing did he invent or sell in 2020? And the answer is, well, nothing fundamentally different. I mean, the guy's always working like a machine, but there wasn't some huge one-off event that explains it. So, what gives?
All right, so the secret isn't some new product. The secret is understanding how billionaire wealth actually works. And believe me, it's not what most of us think.
Okay, so first thing we need to do is get one image out of our heads. This idea of a billionaire swimming in a vault of cash like Scrooge McDuck, it's not real. People like Musk and Bezos don't have billions of dollars just sitting in a bank account. You couldn't save that much from a salary, even a huge one. No, their wealth is a completely different kind of beast.
It all boils down to two words, net worth. And for billionaires, net worth basically means one thing, stock. It's not cash, it's the value of all the shares they own in their companies. So their personal fortune is tied, like with an iron chain, to how well their company is doing on the stock market. Think about it this way. Most of us get a paycheck, right? It's cash, it's predictable, it goes in the bank. A billionaire's wealth is not that. It's almost all on paper, tied to their company's stock. And that means it can go up or down by billions of dollars in a single day. It's incredibly volatile. So if his wealth is tied to his company's stock, you can probably guess where this is going. The real story, the engine behind that $150 billion surge, is all about Tesla.
Yeah, 720%. That's how much Tesla stock shot up in 2020. It wasn't just growth, it was a financial explosion. And it was kind of this perfect storm, you know? You had investors going all in on the future of EVs, Tesla was actually hitting its production numbers, and then the big one. It got added to the S&P 500.
Now, Elon owns a huge chunk of Tesla, about 20%. So it's simple math, really. When the value of the whole pie, the whole company, goes up by 720%, his 20% slice does the exact same thing. His personal wealth is basically a barometer for how much the world believes in Tesla's future. And look at this journey over time. Back in 2010, when Tesla had its IPO, you could buy a share for $17, just $17. Fast forward to early 2021, and that same share was worth over $850. That's the kind of insane growth that makes fortunes, not just for regular investors, but especially for the guy who owns the biggest piece of the company. Okay, so we've got the how, the stock market. But the numbers don't tell the whole story, do they? To get the full picture, you kind of have to understand the guy at the center of it all. So who exactly is Elon Musk? Well, you can tell he was wired differently from a young age. He grew up in South Africa, taught himself computer programming, and get this, at 12 years old, he coded and sold his first video game for $500. Talk about a sign of things to come, right? And his whole career has just been one massive bet after another. First, he starts a company called Zip2. Then he starts X.com, which you might know better as PayPal. After selling that, he doesn't just retire. Oh no. He takes $100 million of his own money and starts a rocket company, SpaceX, with the insane goal of going to Mars. And then, in 2008, he jumps in as CEO of a struggling little electric car company called Tesla. But this kind of crazy growth, it naturally leads to some big questions. Is Tesla's valuation for real? Or is it just a massive bubble? And maybe the most interesting question of all, what does Elon Musk himself think about being this rich? A lot of the traditional Wall Street folks are, let's say, skeptical. You had big banks like JP Morgan coming out and saying, look, by any normal way you measure a company, Tesla's stock price is just way, way too high. They're basically saying the hype is completely disconnected from how many cars they actually sell. But here's the kicker, the craziest part. Elon Musk kind of agrees with them. In May of that year, he just tweets out, "Tesla's stock price is too high, IMO," in my opinion. I mean, can you imagine another CEO saying that about their own company? It's just unheard of.
And yet, despite all that skepticism, even from the man himself, a lot of people think this is just the beginning. The big conversation now is whether he could become the world's first trillionaire. I mean, if Tesla keeps growing, his net worth could eventually hit that unimaginable number.
It's funny, though, because you'll hear Musk say he's cash poor. And it sounds crazy, but he's kind of right. He doesn't take a salary. It's all stock. And he can't just sell a bunch of it to get cash. Because if the CEO starts dumping stock, what does that say to everyone else? The price would probably plummet, and all that paper wealth would just vanish.
And that, right there, gets to the core of how he thinks. For him, money isn't the finish line. It's not about yachts and private islands. It's fuel. It's the resource he needs to fund his real goals, which are, just small things like making humanity a multiplanetary species and completely changing how the world uses energy.
I think his reaction to actually becoming the richest man on the planet says it all. He didn't throw a party. He just tweeted, "Strange. Well, back to work." That's it. It was just a distraction from the actual work he wants to do.
So in the end, what's the plan for all these billions? He's been pretty clear about it. He says about half is to help with problems here on Earth, and the other half is to build a self-sustaining city on Mars. So yeah, the numbers are absolutely insane. But the vision that's driving it all, well, that's literally out of this world.